Hello, everyone. Hi. So today is a very special day. We are just hours before Uranus enters Gemini for the next 7 years. So this is a huge deal. This is the last, well, okay, we'll get into it, but yeah, welcome to the live stream. I did promise live streams, stream of consciousness videos that I don't have to edit. So here I am a month later. Sorry about that. But just in time for Uranus and Gemini. So hello, I'm Sophia Nova. You can call me Amanda. I go by Amanda Sophia. You can call me Sophia, whatever you want. Um, and yeah, this is my first live stream on this channel in a long time. In a long time. Back in the day, if you have been following this channel for years, you might remember I used to do yoga live streams when I had just gotten certified as a yoga instructor in 2019 prior to COVID. So that was fun. Um, I might have some of those videos available to watch still on this channel, but I did private a lot of them. But anyway, welcome. So, yes, today we will be talking about Uranus in Gemini. So, why should you care about this? Well, like I said, Uranus only changes signs about every 7 years. And this is the last of four slow moving planets to shift in 2025. So, I don't know if you've been keeping up, but Saturn, Jupiter, Neptune, Pluto, well, Pluto was already in Aquarius. But yeah, Uranus, um, all shifted signs. Um, so that's the fourth one this year. Pluto shifted in 2023, but uh, yeah, this is the fourth. This is the last planet to shift. And all of that happening in the span of 1 year is unprecedented. This doesn't happen. This doesn't happen. The outer planets move the slowest. So all the planets that I mentioned change signs every year. Ooh, did you see that? That was interesting. Oh, it was over here. Um, change signs. Jupiter's every 1 year. Saturn's every 2.5 to 3 years. Neptune's every like 14 to 15 years. Uh, that's Neptune. And then, yeah, Uranus is about every 7 years. So this is crazy. This is crazy. It's part of the reason why this book was written. I don't know if you, I didn't really haven't talked about this book. Um, this is a book I wrote with my peers. It's available on Amazon through Ninth House Publishing. And we came together at the end of last year to talk about all of these shifts. And yeah, because it's so important. So this is Uranus in Gemini is going to be the last major shift moving into 2025. So this, like I said, is unprecedented. So Uranus will be in Gemini from tomorrow, July 7th, 2025 through May 22nd of 2033. My tongue doesn't even know how to say 2033 or 2030 anything. So that's how long it's going to be in this sign. It will briefly dip into Cancer, the next sign over, in 2032 before it regresses back again into Gemini and complete the transit. Just to tell you the importance of this transit, we will get into more historical events of Uranus and Gemini that have happened in the past when this transit occurred, but this may not come as a surprise to you. Major wars for the United States. And I don't like to talk about predictive astrology as much because sometimes it makes me feel bad and I don't want to manifest anything, right? But I don't think I have that much control over this because um, Uranus and Gemini had the American Revolution, the Civil War, and World War II. Why is this? The birth chart of the United States has Uranus in Gemini, along with other placements. And so this is the Uranus return of the United States. And weirdly enough, we've had major wars every time this happens. I don't like to report that, but I've already done it in the book. Okay. So every other astrologer has mentioned this as well. So I'm not the only one, right? All right. So that's just for context. The contrast of Uranus in Taurus, which occurred from 2018/19 through 2025 now, is very different. Other astrologers have mentioned the difference in energies between these two. I know this for a fact because I have 10th house Mars in Taurus. So Uranus entered my 10th house in 2018/19. And for about 7 years now, I've had this Uranus in Taurus transit in my 10th house. And I can vouch to say it's a very stifling energy. Uranus in Taurus is stifled. Uranus is like lightning, it's a lightning bolt. And Taurus is slow moving, comfort loving, of an archetype energy. So, Taurus, the bull, is heavy and dense. Uranus is like electricity. And so these two energies contrast to create stifled energy. I had high hopes for my 10th house transit in Taurus with Uranus, and it didn't turn out the way I hoped. But here I am on YouTube, so there's still hope. But yeah, it's frustrating. It's a frustrated transit to occur. And I can get into more of the description of Uranus energy, right? So we're going to also contrast Uranus and Taurus to Uranus and Gemini because it's very different. So Uranus keywords, right? Revolutionary war. Innovative, unpredictable, disruptive. Think of a lightning bolt, right? Liberating, eccentric, future-oriented, breakthroughs, unconventional, chaotic. Okay? Think of the Tower card in tarot. These words capture Uranus's core essence: sudden change, genius, freedom, America, right? We have that in our birth chart in the United States for a reason. Freedom, a push beyond norms, right? So we're going past traditional energy, often with shock and upheaval. Uranus will be expressed through the zodiac sign of Gemini, which represents industries related to communications, and commerce. Kudos to Sam Reynolds, who drilled that into my brain as the 3 keywords for Mercury: communications, commerce. I attribute that to Gemini as well. Yeah, so we move into more of Gemini keywords, right? Because we're combining these two energies. Gemini energy: curious, adaptable, communicative, playful, dual, right? This and that, both and. Quick-minded, always shifting, changing thoughts, going back and forth. Changeable. Okay, I changed my mind. I said this, then I changed my mind, right? These words capture Gemini's mental agility, love for variety, shifting nature, and social spark. Its essence as mutable air ruled by Mercury. Okay? So, with the energies of Uranus and Gemini coming together, we can expect rapidly changing developments in technology, short distance travel, finance, and methods of communication. All right? What's going to happen with our vehicles? What's going to happen with our fiat currency? Are we going to still have dollar bills and coins? What's going to happen with our communication, our phones? Mr. Odie. What's going to happen? How are we going to talk to each other? Okay? Are we going to get cryptocurrency? I think so. It's not going to look the same. Okay? Some myths we can reference for this. There's two. They go hand in hand, right? Greek myth, the Greek myth of Uranus. Uranus, sky god, was the primordial god who fathered many children with Gaia, aka the earth. So we have the sky god and earth, sky and earth, including the Titans being their children and monstrous beings. Disgusted by some of them, Uranus, I'm making up that pronunciation, Uranus, right, was disgusted by some of them. He forced them back into Gaia. We remember Hercules, right? Causing her great pain. In retaliation, Gaia crafted a sickle and persuaded her son, Kronos, Saturn, to act. When Uranus approached Gaia, Cronus ambushed and castrated him. Okay? Throwing his severed genitals into the sea, right? From the blood sprang the Furies and giants, and from the sea foam rose Aphrodite, Venus. This myth symbolizes the overthrow of oppressive power, which is good. It's a good sign, right? The birth of rebellion, the emergence of new creative forces, echoing Uranus's astrological themes of revolution, liberation, and sudden change. Okay? What's another offshoot of this myth? Prometheus. Many modern astrologers consider Prometheus a mythic prototype for Uranus, especially after Uranus was discovered during the Enlightenment, a time of radical thought and progress. So, in short, Prometheus acts out the Uranian archetype, the rebellious liberator who defies authority to bring enlightenment, even at great personal cost. Prometheus defied Zeus by stealing fire from the gods and giving it to humanity, a rebellious visionary act that advanced civilization, the fire being the technology that helped advance civilization. Uranus astrologically represents rebellion, innovation, and sudden breakthroughs, qualities mirrored in Prometheus's myth. And if you are here right now, please leave a like on this video so that I know you're enjoying the content. And thanks for being here. Thanks for listening. Quick side note before we move along, please hit that like button. Okay. Prometheus symbolizes the liberating power of knowledge and technology, much like Uranus. rules over invention, genius, and breaking limitations. So, right now, take a look around at our government and we say, uh-oh, this is scary. This is not looking good. Here comes Uranus. Okay? Have some hope, people. Yes, it may not be pretty, but we got to fight for our right to party. Okay? So, Uranus in Gemini will be a Uranus opposition for those people born 1981 to 1982. Welcome to your midlife crisis era. Fun. You know, we can always make fun of the midlife crisis era, but essentially what this means is you take a look around, you say, oh my God, and you're like, I don't know if I want this to be the rest of my life. I got to do something before it's too late. You quit your job, you do something radical. Some people, you know, you make fun of them and joke that they buy a Corvette or something. They do something to try to encapsulate their inner spirit, which is at threat of dying. Okay? And if you hear grumbling in the background, that's Mr. Odie. He's taking a nap. All right. Uranus in Gemini is the Uranus return, right? Uranus takes 84 years to orbit. So it's the Uranus return for those people born 1941 to 1942. Okay? Not all of us get to live to see our Uranus return. So if you are of this age, congratulations. This is a great milestone for you. Moving along, minor grand trine alert. What does this mean? So I wish I could bring up on the screen. Maybe I can. I haven't tried this before, right? Let's see. Maybe I'll do this. I'm gonna share. Okay. Minor grand trine. Okay, so I'll get my screen out of the way. Minor grand trine. We have Pluto in Aquarius, the first degrees of Aquarius, air sign. 60 degrees away, we have Saturn and Neptune at the first degrees of Aries. So Pluto in Aquarius, 60 degrees away in a sextile, Saturn and Neptune in Aries. So this is not just a minor grand trine. This is a minor grand trine with Saturn and Neptune conjoined in the middle. And then 60 degrees away from Aries is Uranus at the first degree of Gemini. Hello? Do you realize how rare that is? It's not just that all of these planets just shifted. They're aspecting each other. This is insane. Do you see this little triangle in the middle? Sextile, sextile, trine. That's insane. That doesn't just happen, right? The likelihood of this happening is pretty much zero, y'all. I don't know how to emphasize that enough. Okay. So that's a nice little visual for you on how the planets are aspecting each other right now. Okay? That's crazy. So, with that in mind, Uranus sextile Neptune, trine Pluto. You thought AI was going to go away? Well, think again, because these planets are going to be aspecting each other for 7 years by sign, at least by sign. Right now, by degree. That's crazy. Rapid developments in AI and potent generational advancement. Potent generational advancement. Hello. It's going to be things we've never thought of before. You think Atlantis was cool? Get ready. I don't know if Atlantis had this. This is giving Atlantis to me. Aries being the sign of firsts. So this is not even something we've seen. Okay? When we look back on cycles past, right, which I go into in the book. Ta-da! Again, the Astrology of 2025, your cosmic guide to the year ahead. We wrote this book, and it was published January 1st of this year. So I knew about this stuff already, and I wrote about Uranus and Gemini through history, okay, and the important dates. So we're going to go over that briefly right now. Okay, April 1775 to January 1782. American Revolutionary War. War number 1 of this transit. 1 of 3. Hopefully, I don't know, we'll see if there's going to be a 4th. Steam engine was optimized and later powered the Industrial Revolution. Uranus in Gemini being the revolution. So, an invention of the steam engine and a new invention that powered a revolution, okay? Might we see another invention that powers a new revolution? So that was 1775 to 1782. We go to June 1858 to June 1865. Abolition movements and the U.S. Civil War. Reshaping things like citizenship. Does that sound familiar? Are we going through that? Yes. Federal authority? And racial equality. Isn't that crazy? So, war number 2, the Civil War. Next time Uranus was in Gemini. August 1941 to August 1948. World War II and Pearl Harbor. One of my ancestors was in Pearl Harbor. This family member was not well respected in my family, and we joke that they were shot in the ass, which means they were running away. Which means they were a coward, okay, essentially. So it's a running joke in my family. So, World War II and Pearl Harbor, the Manhattan Project was developed, and they developed nuclear weapons. Have nuclear weapons been in the news lately? Yeah. What's going to happen? I don't know if I want to know. Hopefully something good. Hopefully they go away forever and we don't need them. Maybe we'll innovate something that makes it very outdated technology. I like to try to manifest positive things here. The UN began operations. So, this was a revolution in global communication and advocacy. Advocacy is another thing that we see with Uranus because it's about protesting. It's about moving beyond tradition and saying, I don't think so. We should do this instead. Okay? So, those are the last 3 cycles of Uranus and Gemini. And you just have to laugh. It's crazy, right? So, transit duration and key dates. We'll go through the major key dates. I'm not going to go through aspects, 7 years of aspects, right? That might be for another video, and or maybe I'll do that throughout this whole transit as it comes. But this is the major stuff that you will want to know now. So, the beginning of 2025, January 30th, was when Uranus went direct at 23 of Taurus. Okay, so we're starting from the beginning. You may have felt a shift around this time or heightened energy in this area of your life, right? This is in Taurus. Okay, but this is like everything starting, moving into the next phase. So that was it moving direct at 23 of Taurus. July 7th, Uranus enters Gemini for the first time. That's tomorrow. For the first time in about 84 years. September 5th, 2025, Uranus retrograde at 1 degree of Gemini. This retrograde period will last 150 days. November 7th, 2025, Uranus regresses back into Taurus. So we will get another little kiss from Uranus in Taurus, passing over the last degrees again. I have a placement there. It's my Mars at 28 or 26. Something like that. Okay. I love how I can never remember. I think it's 28. Is it 28? Anyway, so if you have placements in the last degrees, Uranus will come back around and give it one last go before the end of this cycle. So November 7th, 2025, Uranus regresses back into Taurus. And then February 3rd, 2026, Uranus stations direct at 27 of Taurus. This is the last time Uranus will station in this sign of Taurus. April 25th, 2026, Uranus re-enters Gemini. So by April of next year, Uranus will be in Gemini for good, as we say, for good. Retrogrades and aspects of Uranus and Gemini will be for another video. I'll spare you those details right now. The last date you'll want to take note of right now is that Uranus will enter Cancer for good, May 22nd, 2033. However, Uranus will dip into Cancer briefly in 2032 before regressing back into Gemini, and then 2033 in May, it's in Cancer for good. Okay? So, in the last section of this video, we will briefly summarize this transit of Uranus in Gemini by rising sign. Okay? Aries rising. If you're in Aries rising, Uranus is in your 3rd house. Expect radical shifts in how you communicate, think, and connect with your local environment. Siblings, learning, short travel could be areas of breakthrough and unpredictability. A lot of third house transits can be moving house because your neighborhood changes. Okay. The way that you get to work changes, things like that. Having unruly neighbors could be something. Taurus rising, Uranus will be in your second house. Your values, income, and relationship with material security may evolve rapidly. Unusual money making ideas or instability in finances could shake things up. I had instability through my house of career for 7 years. So I can vouch for that instability part. Gemini rising, Uranus will be in your first house. A total personal reinvention, right? You're becoming more eccentric, independent, expressive of your unique identity. Expect sudden shifts in your appearance, personality, or self image. Cancer rising, Uranus is in your 12th house. Inner awakenings, spiritual breakthroughs, or unexpected endings. You may be drawn to unconventional healing or uncover repressed patterns that liberate you. Leo rising, Uranus will be in our 11th house. Your social life, friendships, and goals are due for a shakeup. You could connect with progressive communities or feel pulled toward unusual collective missions. Virgo rising, Uranus will be in your 10th house. This is big career pivots, sudden recognition, or shifts in public identity. You may embrace a more unconventional path to success or feel called to break away from old professional structures. This 10th house transit for you will be much different from mine in Taurus, which was slow and destabilizing. This will be quick paced, fast, exciting. Libra rising, Uranus in your 9th house, a time of radical rethinking of beliefs, worldview, education, travel, higher learning, or philosophy could open you up to new liberating ideas. Scorpio rising, Uranus in your 8th house, deep psychological breakthroughs, shifts in shared resources, or sudden changes in intimacy. Unorthodox healing, esoteric knowledge, or financial transformation are possible. Sagittarius rising, Uranus in your 7th house. Relationships, professional, business, romantic, may all become unstable or electrifying. This is usually a marriage partner if you're married. You attract unusual partners or redefine what commitment and connection means to you. Capricorn rising, Uranus in your 6th house. I have this natally. Work, health, daily routines undergo innovation or disruption. You may adopt alternative wellness methods or shift toward more flexible, tech-forward ways of working. Aquarius rising, Uranus in your 5th house. Your creativity, self-expression, romantic life could become more spontaneous and experimental. Be careful of pregnancy. If that's what you want, this could be it, especially if you have moon there. If it's not what you want, be careful. Be careful. Children or passion projects may take unexpected forms. Pisces rising, last one, Uranus in your 4th house. Home and family life is in flux. You may move, break from family traditions, or design an unconventional living situation. Of course, your personal natal chart has a lot to do with how these descriptions manifest. So this is just general description. Of course, if you want to know a more personalized understanding of how this transit will manifest for you, you can get a reading from any astrologer, including myself. If you go to my website, astrohealingcouncil.com/consultations, you will see that I have consultations open on the weekends. I'm in school full time. But I would love to get some, uh, you know, some work. It's been a while. And of course, there's a great many other wonderful astrologers out there to consult. Find the one that speaks to you, that is most compatible with you. Or read your own chart. I was going to say, read your own damn chart. But yeah, no, just kidding. Yeah, you don't always need to get a reading, but if you really want to know more, an astrologer would love to help you. So that's all I have for this live stream. I covered everything I wanted to cover, and I hope you enjoyed this stream of consciousness. I did pre-write an outline, of course, so I would not get off topic. Mercury in Sagittarius tends to do that, so I did not do that. But yeah, I think I like this format. I think in the future I would like to have more screen share things going on. But essentially, yeah, that's it. Thanks for watching. Enjoy your transit, and I'll see you next time in the next video. Subscribe if you haven't. I'm almost to 1,000 subscribers. See you later.